So by now, everybody has heard about Radio Biafra and that the Nigerian government has tried to jam their signal. First of all, there are different opinions about Biafra, so I already know that I will be making some enemies on this issue. But hey, it's okay, because despite the fact that we don't all agree, it doesn't mean that we cannot dialogue and reason together. Once again, this is just my opinion, and I'm sure that I will be wrong in many things, but at least I'm trying to talk about this very important issue. Personally, I blame both sides, okay? The Nigerian government and those that refer to themselves as Biafrans, because not all Igbo people support the pro-Biafran movement, by the way. First of all, let me talk to the Nigerian government. We had a civil war that lasted for 3 years, 1967 to 1970, and this war claimed about 3 million lives. By the way, they need to update the death casualties on BBC because I read 1 million on BBC. Anyway, about 3 million people died, and this happened in Nigeria. Until now, it's not part of our school curriculum. It's not being taught in schools, as if the Nigerian government doesn't want us to know about this side of our history. They even tried to prevent the viewing of that movie, Half of a Yellow Sun, which is a fictional depiction of what happened during the war. I know that there are about 40 books published on the Biafran War, but I still think that it should be taught in school. It should be part of our curriculum because it is part of our history. So we need to learn about it so that we can hopefully learn from it, so that history will not repeat itself. I am, however, glad that there is a museum in Umuahia. At first, I thought there was no museum where any of what happened was documented, but I recently learned that there is a museum in Umuahia that documented what happened. If you're able to visit the place, please make sure you do. It has pictures, armor tanks that were used during the war, all kinds of weapons.
I personally feel disappointed though. As a nation, we can do better than this in terms of museum for Biafra, a war that killed 3 million people. Not only that, I feel like we need some kind of memorial day for Biafra.
This is the site where Ojukwu's bunker is. It would be good to have a national one that, the Nigerian government will contribute to, but we still need some kind of monument about this. But my main beef with the Nigerian government is their failure to address the cocoa of the matter. Radio Biafra is just a fruit of something deeper. If you don't deal with the root, trying to cut off the fruit is just a waste of time, in my opinion. I think that the Nigerian government needs to address the genuine grievances of Igbo people. And I know that Hausa people would also say we have our own issues too, and Yoruba people would say we have our own issues too, and other ethnic groups as well would argue that. But what I'm saying is, regarding Radio Biafra, the solution is not trying to jam their signal. Even if you do that, they will remain online and people can always find them online. But I think the solution is to go back and discuss what led to the Biafran War and discuss peace before we can achieve anything meaningful. I'm a Nigerian and I am in support of unity. I don't want us to divide. I don't think that we should separate. Yet I don't agree that it's right to kill another Nigerian if they want to succeed. People were literally starved to death, little children included. For 3 years, their source of food was cut off, and these were Nigerians like myself. I don't think that it's right. I've heard about many terrible things that happened during Biafra. One man told me that his parents would hide them on the ground, him and his sister. They would put them inside big buckets and bury them, cover them up when Nigerian soldiers were coming, and then they dug them out when the soldiers leave. I know that people died on both sides, but we cannot compare the numbers. While about 3 million Igbos were killed, from what I've heard and from what I've read, and I may be wrong once again, but I don't think that up to 200,000 Nigerian soldiers were killed. All I'm saying is, let's have a dialogue. We need to talk about moving forward. That's the first step to healing. The other thing is, I personally cherish freedom of expression, because if there's no freedom of expression, I, for one, cannot be doing what I'm doing right now. Having said that, let me talk to Radio Biafra. Okay, now to Radio Biafra. Really? Whatever your grievances may be, it is not an excuse to use your freedom of expression to instigate violence and promote hatred. What will you achieve by spewing hate comments about the present president? You're calling Buhari a terrorist. You're saying that he wants to use Boko Haram to kill Igbo people. It's funny that you call Buhari a terrorist because Boko Haram attacked Buhari himself, and you're saying that he's the one behind Boko Haram. That doesn't make sense. You're calling Nigeria a zoo. You're targeting all Hausas and Yorubas. That will not solve any problem. I don't know what you will gain by telling your listeners to destroy Deeper Life Church posters, their billboards, and for them to burn down all Deeper Life churches in Aba, as well as all Deeper Life churches in all Igbo land. Because Deeper Life founder is Yoruba? And why are they picking on only Deeper Life Church, by the way? And what do you gain by telling Igbos to arm themselves, pending when the director would give the clarion call for the war to commence? What war? Are you trying to start another war? This director is telling people to contribute money for him to purchase arms to start a war against the government of Nigeria. Can you imagine? What pains me is that the people that are broadcasting on Radio Biafra, they are outside Nigeria. Some of them are in London, but many people in Nigeria are now behind their idea of destroying anything owned by Hausas or Yoruba people in Igbo land. Most of the people that are buying their ideology were not even alive during the Biafra, yet they call in to pledge their support. No, this is not right. This is not right. See why I said that we really need to have a dialogue? It's very sad that we don't know what we have in Nigeria. Our diversity is one of our greatest assets, but we don't know the value of it. We are already one country. We've already been merged together by the British. The solution is, how can we work together for the betterment of all tribes? As much as I support freedom of speech, because without freedom of speech, I would not be here today. As much as I support freedom of speech, it comes with responsibility. I do not support using that freedom to instigate violence and to promote hatred and to spread lies. Each time that I tune in to listen to this Radio Biafra, they twist the truth. Why? The other day they said that Obama has abandoned Buhari in Washington, D.C. I was like, what? That did not happen. They said he abandoned him just like Buhari was abandoned in London, outside in the freezing cold. I'm like, really? I was in D.C. Buhari was not abandoned. He's back to Nigeria even before Obama went to Kenya, which they are saying, Obama abandoned him and left him for Kenya. And then they said Buhari wants access to the U.S. weapons in order to fight innocent people, and that Boko Haram is his boy. I'm like, really? I already know that I'll get a lot of emails about this issue, by the way, especially because I am Yoruba, but that's all right. Maybe that would open up some kind of dialogue. I don't know. But again, I want peace in Nigeria, and I think that both sides need to have a dialogue. As you guys know, I don't know anything. Guess what? I'm just keeping it real.